2.0. I think the entry point, if we use the Oscar Valder, Oscar Valder, the business model template is actually at the bottom here in terms of revenue streams and cost structure. So what you'll hear from us is something that we do think improves the revenue streams, but also has an impact, positive impact, a good impact on our cost structure. I think another entry point for the idea as well is another way of looking at our business model, which if you think of it in its core is that we have platforms, right, that stay there for a very, very long time, forever.
Right.
And they're delivering value. That is our prime channel channel for reaching Sarah. That's an essential part of our business model. And we support that from a center, and that costs, right? Quality costs, as you said. That business model, as we discussed during the 2 days, is in some ways under threat as we envision more, let's say, SFHs. And I think there was consensus in the room that that was the direction, that was the trend that we would likely see over the coming 5 years is more SFHs. So we can challenge that, but a struggle to figure out how to adapt the business model to that changing trend. PSI 2.0 builds on PSI.com, right? So I think most people have heard of PSI.com, but the basic idea is that we have social marketing expertise and other expertise, contracting, procurement, inside the organization that could be sold at a profit to others, right? So that is one part of PSI 2.0 is the existing, more or less, PSI.com idea. But we'd expand it in two ways. One would be externally to go after the business that, say, Ogilvy's social marketing practice right now has in the United States or in Europe or in the UK.
Show them the bidet. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, these are the...
I was here for that yesterday.
And basically, these two ideas are combined into this, right? So they make money off of that. Is there any reason to believe that we don't have the social marketing expertise that they have to go after that type of business and increase revenues? We're hoping that would have an impact on the cost structure. Fewer people charging to overhead, right? So people right now who charge some of their time direct, but also charge to overhead, some of that bandwidth would be taken up in working for PSI 2.0 and bringing in more revenue, right? So that's one way externally. One way to expand on it internally would be to turn PSI.com or PSI 2.0 into the business unit that services deconsolidated platforms, right? So now, instead of having to take the whole the whole kit and caboodle, right? You have to take right now if you're consolidated. You can pick and choose, and you'll pay a fee for service for those things.
Right.
We would hope that somehow that would have positive impacts on the cost structure, reducing it on the PSI org side, and then also having a lighter cost structure on the PSI 2.0 side so that you could build in a fee and make a profit, and still SFH, for example, would pay less than if they were consolidated, right? So somehow the overhead we lay on it, the burden we lay on their services now consolidated, would be less than the combination of burden and profit or fee on the PSI 2.0.
Is that a hope, or did you do any?
Well, and we struggled, and we looked at that and said, that's a bet. Brabble wasn't our group.
She said we
Right.
could do it.
Yeah,
We ran it by the Congressional Budget Office, and they said it was revenue neutral or better.
We talked about the fact that these people might not be employees. They might be consultants without having any downtime, without having the benefits package that PSI has. They might not have an office. They could be
Recently,
a
Pink
virtual
slept
office.
6
We
I'm not sure we
Very-
pay them.
Occasionally.
If we do these other two steps, there can be plenty of them.
I mean, and Carl, and Steve, you're familiar with the stargazing exercise, right? The dimensions on the stargazing were set by all of us early in these 3 days. So at the end, we evaluated the ideas against these dimensions. And to be fair, this was self-evaluation, that on the spend less money, the cost structure side, we're not so sure. So we went back and looked at a couple of ideas, and that's what you've heard me talk about. We do think it scores high on this side, addressing the deconsolidation issue. But we're concerned also about the program quality, right? So, so they buy some services from us, and they stay in the network that way. But, are there any sticks? Yeah. Pakistan comes to mind.
We charge for attending the board meetings.
I think that's basically it, right, guys? I don't know if you have something to add.
Well,
We do think it would be extremely
there
motivating.
was
Let me just add one
Yeah.
thing that on the key resources, we thought it'd be something, as I think we've discussed in PSI.com, that would be quite motivating